This is a new era, bringing it all together. Getting your right mind, we grind, we do it forever. That's the only mission. Elevated thinking, it's a vision. Yeah, I'ma keep moving if this don't hit. You can't stop me when I hop aboard the spaceship. Sit and watch as I make shit. I am not a human, I'm a living constellation.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Jay Faith, and this is the Right Mind Wednesdays podcast where we make connections through conversations. I want to say God bless to everybody. I want to say shout out to everybody that has been tuning in, checking us out, supporting the pod. Shout out to Kayla and Krispy, who are not here, but they're in our thoughts, and I know that they're busy off doing things, important things. But today we got my good friend L.Y.F here, as always, and we have a very special guest with us here tonight. Definitely one of my most favorite people that I've gotten to know in my journey at I'm gonna call it a side job because I have music, I have this podcast, so definitely one of the most beautiful people that I have ever met. Just in that whole experience. How is everything going on, Janiyah?
It's going pretty chill. I'm excited to be here and just happy to connect with you again. We have our little history at past, but yeah, I'm
For
excited
sure.
to be here.
So share just a little bit about just like who you are, what you've been up to recently, just so people can kind of get to know you, and we'll tap in a little bit to some other things that we've been talking about.
So, hi, my name is Janiyah. I was originally born in Augusta, Georgia, but I grew up in Germany. My mom, my dad are both in the military. I met Mr. Justin through Youth of the Year. I was the European Military Youth of the Year for 2022, then the Northeast Regional Military Youth of the Year for 2022.
Represent.
And then the National UPS Road Code Ambassador for 2022. I currently go to Xavier University in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I am a 400-meter sprinter for the track and field team. I am also a public relations and communications double major with a minor in digital media, and I'm a photographer for campus as well.
Okay, we're gonna have to tap into you for a couple things, so be on the lookout for that. But nice little plug there. But yeah, it's really been. When was the last time we saw each other? Conference?
It was was it it was conference. It was conference.
Yeah,
You rocked the
and
stage.
I tried. That was so much fun. I can't. It's hard to believe that it was so long ago, but like it actually happened.
It feels like it was just like yesterday. I remember seeing everyone. I was treated like a celebrity. I had people calling me by my
You,
Instagram handle than my name.
yeah, you are a celebrity. Come on now. Come on. I know. I feel so out of the loop now, not being on the steering committee this year. I think Miss Maria got it this year, but yeah, it just feels weird because I'm like, oh, I feel so disconnected from everything. I'm like, I want to know what's happening. I want to be a part of it, but I can't. But everybody's got to get their turn and opportunity, and it's great. So I'm excited for this year. I'm excited to go this year. We're trying to figure everything out, but it's in Atlanta, Georgia this year. It's in Georgia.
Best place to be. I love Georgia so much. It's so beautiful there, so much culture. And I know it's going to be fun with the Keystone Conference. It's going to be amazing.
For sure. I'm excited. I'm excited to be back there. That was actually the first place that I had my first Keystone Conference. It was when they did the college experience at the dorms, and that was yeah, that was a fun experience. I mean, the conference itself was really, really, really great. Just the rooming situation was a whole other story. I don't know if you ever got to go to that one, if that was
I didn't get to go, but I have my
Mm,
dorm horror stories. I've already moved out like 3 times. I'm in a single room now, thank Jesus. But
dang.
I need a GoPro. They need to film every
Mm,
moment of my life because, wow.
invest. What's that been like? I mean, you're in your first year of college now. Geez, first year of college. Remember meeting you as a junior, and now you're moving on up. And what's college been like compared to high school? Especially your high school in Germany too, correct?
Yes, so my high school in Germany, I actually graduated with 16 other people. Very small school, very small
Wow.
community. and Xavier's kind of built the same way. But I mean, instead of having like three people in a class, I could have potentially like 15, 20, maybe. It's not a lot. I prefer it that way, to be honest, because I feel like even with the smallest communities, you make the biggest impacts. So that's what I've
Hmm.
been trying to preach and do. So I would say it's kind of like the same, but college is like a glorified high school. I thought like it was the movies, you know? I'm going to go into my lecture. I'm going to be so aesthetic. It's not aesthetic.
No.
No, no, you learn
And like
very
in the
quickly.
movies, they don't go to class. They just wake up and
Yeah,
hungover and do it again.
seriously, seriously. I know. I tried when I remember back in my
There's no
day
grade system.
going to college. At first I started. I would get up. I'd actually like put normal clothes on, jeans, whatever. Try to look nice, and then eventually I was like, "Yo, where's my sweatpants at? Like, I'm just gonna roll out of bed. I'm gonna get here. I got practice later. I'm not trying to impress nobody. Let me just get to class, and it is what it is. Let me just be ready for practice." That's pretty much where it started to fall.
Yeah, we have practice in the morning. So like some days
Ooh.
he'll send our coaches will send out the schedule and it'll be like, okay, 7:45, you need to be out on the baseball field and we're gonna be doing plyos or 8 o'clock. It depends on whatever workout we're doing. And then
Hmm.
I have classes right after that. So I remember like my first week here. Whew, I on Tuesdays I had practice usually at like 8 and I went
Mm,
from 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and it was classes, like sometimes even meetings, just
mm.
so much. I was like, what is this? Is there a glitch in the matrix? Like where am
Ser-
I right now? Not it.
Yeah, I remember we were trying to get you on last semester, and you were like, if I can find 5 minutes to spare, I would love to come on your podcast, but I can't even breathe for a second, let alone uh, find a meeting or a minute to come on. So glad that things have lightened up for you, maybe, possibly.
They have, in a sense. I think when I first got here, I let my anxiety and my fear like completely take over because for me, the whole reason I'm really in college is because of my family. I'm trying to show my family we aren't our generational curses. I'm trying to show
Mm,
my younger siblings and my cousins that despite what we've been passed down in life, it's up to us to change it and not be it, but like make it better. So that's
yeah.
all I preach to them. I'm the first in my family to be at a D1 college. I see the thumbs down. I was like, what is going
I
on?
I'm not
where
doing
I
nothing.
know
Like what?
I like we know what causes it, but I'm like trying to figure out like where how is it happening? Because we're not going like this. Because normally if you go like this,
Yeah.
then the thumbs down pops up. But I'm trying to, but whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta
Right.
we gotta give a thumbs up to it. We gotta change the app. See, then we do
Yeah.
the thumbs up and it doesn't work. See, technology is clearly failing us today. It is
It's
all
okay.
technology, but
When it
it is
takes over, it'll be okay. I mean, I'm
right,
best friends with technology. Siri's my girl.
right, right. I'm glad to see that you have, not that I doubted that you would, but I'm glad to see that you've definitely kept your stance with like Youth of the Year and that whole platform and really applied it to college. And because some people, they stand on something and then life changes and then they kind of just drift away. They forget to focus on what was really important to them at one point in time in their life. And so I'm glad to see that, like, and I follow you on Instagram and stuff, and see the stories and everything else, and just really just putting off like just a positive vibe all the time, and trying to just promote just a lot of positivity and just standing on important things that a lot of people just, again, sometimes they kind of lose that passion for it, and I'm glad to see that that passion is still a fire within you.
Yeah, I remember in my Youth of the Year speech, I talked about how, like, even without the title of Youth of the Year, I will continue to be a Youth of the Year. And that's just because I'm someone with a big heart. There's been times in my life where I lacked and it destroyed me, it hurt me. But I feel like on those breaks in my foundation, I was able to build myself again. And like when I'm here, all I do is try to help people. I'm involved in like 7 different organizations and I do
And
the
she doesn't have time.
We're not going to talk about that part, but it's just I can't help but be involved because if
Mm,
I'm here, then I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to make it known that I'm here. I'm someone who just can't blend into the background because that's not me. I can't ever do that. So as soon as I came on the campus, people were like, "Oh, you have such a bright personality." I was like, "That's because I just ate lunch." But if you believe that, bad. But I got to make so many connections. The people here at Xavier, they definitely haven't like poured into me, and I've been able to pour back. I have a volunteering event that I've coordinated with the Boys and Girls Club here in Cincinnati, and I'm
dope.
very excited for that next week. So I've been myself, and it's celebrated on campus. Some people may think I'm like crazy and about to burn out, but this is me at my finest. Like
Hmm.
creating events, making sure students at Xavier actually have opportunities to grow. Because if we don't have opportunities to grow, we get complacent, and I don't like complacency.
Yeah. Yeah, that can be a huge killer, just like kind of just going through the motions and
Yeah.
not really trying to find that foothold to kind of expand yourself. We see that a lot of times with like artists and stuff that create music. They kind of just get in the same rotation of, making music, and it's like, but where are you trying to expand yourself? Where are you looking for those opportunities to really grow and prosper and just expand yourself? I mean, we should always be continuous learners and trying to just kind of learn something new, and there's so much great information out there, and don't limit yourself to what's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I tried to tell people here. Like, your worst enemy is yourself. If I sit here and allow negativity to rule my life, then I won't be able to appreciate the positive aspects within it. I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm serving the Almighty God. Like, I've been blessed with so many different opportunities. And for me to sit here and not try to share it with others or create it for them, then I can't call myself a child of God if I'm not trying to bless the kingdom.
Hmm. Hmm. And I think
Facts.
yeah, absolutely. And I think people miss that part too. Like you said, sometimes you got to go through some crap. Not because it's like something that is going to bring you down, but it's something that's supposed to lift you up, and you share that with people because, again, I think we mentioned this on one of our last pods. People go through things, but it's hard for people to share it because they may think that it's either weakness or outside of people's character. It's like, you see Janiyah, who's always up and, doing everything and smiling and this and that and the other, but that's not everything, and that's not always how it is. And, we all go through things, and it isn't to show a sign of weakness, but it's saying like, listen, like things aren't always great, but my perspective is different, and I'm trying to push through that. And obviously through our faith, we just know that no matter what we're going through, we know that we will get through it. And it's being able to share those testimonies and being like, listen, like I went through X, Y, and Z, but here's how I came out on the other side. And
Yeah.
people, I think it's valuable to share those things. Obviously, certain things are can be sensitive, and we don't want to push people outside of boundaries that could hurt them, but it is beneficial for people to be able to find the right space to be able to talk about it too.
I had to grow comfortable like sharing my story, but that also came from a place where I had to acknowledge that I actually went through something. I feel like some people they're like, "Oh, I went through it," and they don't expand on it. I say this all the time. I feel like within the military, we talk so much about being resilient, but not enough about resiliency. We don't talk about the process of being that strong person that everyone wants or envisions. For me, with my youth of the year journey, not a lot of people know this. Like my mom, she wanted me to include it in my speech, but I was like, no, because I don't want sympathy. I'm not the type of person to ask for it. I tell you my story so you can get inspired and know that even in the darkest places, there's still light. So
Hmm.
in 2021, um, I got very sick and I couldn't hold down food, water, everything was just coming up. Went to the emergency room and they kept me overnight and were just trying to like give me IVs because I was so dehydrated, and I couldn't hold anything down. It resulted in me like losing my ability to walk. I walked with a shake. It was so bad that like my mom, she saw me deteriorating before her eyes, and as a mother to see your child going through that and you can't do anything, she was also depressed too. So we're both like just feeding off each other's energies. I'm still sick. I'm still in the hospital. I stayed in the hospital. I was in the hospital for about 2 months, and they ran every test in the book. Like, okay, it's not this, it's not that. You still can't hold down food. I don't know how we're going to make sure you still stay the same weight. I think I lost about 15, maybe 20 pounds around that year. And eventually, they came with a diagnosis. It's called cyclic vomiting syndrome, and it's caused by stress and anxiety. So they were like, just that episode, it triggered a lot. And I was under a lot of stress and anxiety. I wasn't like taking care of myself. I was too busy focused on track and not like the athlete that was running track. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like the worst for me because school was still going on. Everybody was still living their life, and mine was just on pause. And I didn't really have people checking on me. So I isolated myself. I really did sink into a deep, dark depression, and losing my ability to walk, like, it was so much happening at once that I didn't recognize myself when I looked in the mirror. I saw nothing when I looked in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I did heal. I had to sit there and talk to myself and say, what's going on? Like, I had to have a real deep conversation with myself. I feel like within media, self-love is so romanticized, but no, it's healing. It is realizing that there is stuff within you that needs to be worked on, that needs to be healed, and doing the work yourself to do that. And it also took a lot of praying too. I had prayer warriors on my family, like, okay, we're gonna sit here, we're just gonna give it to God. The doctors say one thing, but we have a God that heals all. So with that, like, I didn't want to tell that story, but now I do, because I get to show people that even when you think you're weak, your strength is in recognizing those weaknesses and improving upon yourself. There's no such thing as weakness. There's just feeble mind. There's feeble mindedness, and you can overcome that. You can overcome anything. So yeah, just had to make that
Yeah.
realization for myself.
And I definitely think things happen. How do I say this? I think things come about in certain ways, and I'm kind of sidestepping from what you said, but still kind of attaching to it. And the reason I say that, and it'll kind of make sense once I explain it, is like things happen for a reason, and things are said and transpire the way that they do. I was having a conversation with Ben, and this is why it's like sparking this in me. I was having a conversation with Ben, and we were talking about exactly that thing like, yeah, we can have these weaknesses and we can have these issues and we can have these problems or whatever, but like you have to acknowledge it. You can't just let it kind of fly by and not acknowledge it, because then you're just trying to be blissfully unaware of what's happening and you're not acknowledging the problem, and then it's never going to get fixed. Nothing is going to change. And so you have to take that step and acknowledge that there is something happening that's there. Not necessarily a problem, an issue, but that something is there, and it needs to be fixed, and you have to work on it. And that can take time. That can take a month, 2 months. You can have some setbacks. You can not be able to walk. I think about, like, when you said that, I was like, yo, I freak out when my ankle hurts and I'm limping around. I can't imagine having the feeling of not even being able to walk, and or shaky when you're walking. Like that's such a scary thing to think about. And I think about even like when I can't play basketball anymore. I'm like, that freaks me out. So it's like you got to learn to just appreciate the things. Again, I'm just attaching everything that you said. Appreciate the things that you have, and share that testimony that things can look pretty dark, but you have to go through the process. You have to have people around you. You have to work through it. You can't just sit back and hope that it'll work out. You gotta work for it.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you can't try to say you have a testimony without going through the test. You can't say that you want blessings when you haven't sat there and prayed to God and done the work for it. I feel like a lot of people, especially with religion, they feel like they're entitled to things because they are a child of God. They pray. No, it's so much more than that. It's spreading the word of God, reflecting back on the kingdom, and thanking God for the things that He's done and the things He's going to continue to do. So there's no testimony without a test.
Well, it says faith without works is
Mhm.
dead. So
Yep.
like you can't just assume, faith, life, not you, but real life. it-
Get
He's like, all right, again with the life jokes. Get over. Things don't just happen out of. I mean, you get the rare 1 in a million people that get a record deal because they put out one song, or like things. You have to work on things. You can't just assume and hope that things are gonna happen. Life does not work that way, and you don't work that way either because you put.
right.
But you know what? Like I just see so many people that just like, oh yeah, life is this is how things are. Okay, but what are you doing about it? Like, you just like
Like
cool
we
with.
hear too much. Oh, it is what it is. We can't do nothing about it. That's what it is. You can do something about it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It
So
is what it
get
is.
up and do
Yeah.
something. You know what I mean? Like when everybody else is sitting back, like you got to be the one to be like, nah, like keep your people in line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like like you said, there's a difference between saying
Keep
it is
sheep
what
in
it
the herd.
is and doing nothing, or it is what it is because it's happening, but you're doing something about it.
Yeah, most people don't know. With me running track, I went on the recruiting questionnaire that they had on the website. Like, oh yeah, I want to run. I look on there. My school wasn't on there, but they had our enemy school. I was like, first of all, that's one red flag. You know what? It's okay. So I emailed the coach and I'm like, hey, my name is Janiyah. I'm currently in Germany, but I would love to run at your school. Like, I've been accepted. I accept. I want to run at your school. And he took about a month and a half to respond back. But I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about that because I know I'm going to be on this track team. I spoke it into existence. People don't realize your words have power. I think the Bible even says like the power between life and death relies in the tongue. I had power in my tongue and I was using it to my advantage. So I
Mm-hmm.
emailed him again and was like, here's my times. Here's what I can do. I'm a hard worker. I went to my coach and I was like, hey, could you write me a letter of recommendation? She did that. I didn't even have any videos to send to this coach because no one took them. My mom was at work. Only two of us made it to our big championship, so our coaches were preoccupied. But I was like, no, I'm going to be on this track team. And eventually I had my phone call with him and he told me that I was going to be a member of the Xavier University track and field team. And it was because I made sure, like, I emailed him, I texted him, I did everything I could in the book because I had goals and dreams that I wanted to aspire and accomplish.
Mm-hmm. And that's about advocating. We always talk about with Youth of the Year, advocating for others, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, you got to advocate for yourself.
Absolutely. Like even if you have no scholarship offers coming out of high school, like the hunger to just walk on the team and like once you get there, like you might some people redshirt, some people will play right away, but
Mm-hmm.
like take that and just run full steam ahead because you'll get your opportunity and then you will get that scholarship offer.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And it doesn't have to come out of in a direction of being arrogant or cocky. It's just being like, listen, like, I know I'm a good runner. Here's my stats. I'm not just saying, yo, you need to have me on your team. Yo, your team gonna go number one.
Yeah, I'm
You
gonna
don't.
drop 50. I'm gonna drop 35 a game. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
baby.
Like, no, come on,
Have a
man.
triple double.
Yeah, and it shows your determination. I think that speaks for itself. And just listen, I'm a walk on. Y'all didn't even know who I was before I sent this email, and then being like, I have the confidence enough, again, without being cocky or arrogant, to be like, I know you want me on my team, but here's the evidence of why. And not a lot of people do that. And now I'm thinking about, man, like, I should have wrote to UConn and been like, yo, I could hoop.
Yeah.
Put me on. I know I'm 5'9", but I will be a hard work for you and make, but
I feel
life
like
life
I feel like you have to be confident enough in what you bring to the table in order to take a seat. You can't just think that like, oh, the table's available for everyone. Like, no, know who you are, know your brand, know what you bring to the table, and that in any room that you could contribute. You have to have confidence, like you said, advocate for yourself, and then take that seat at the table, contribute to the conversation, make your name a name people don't forget, and that's what I had to do. And I'm not gonna say the track journey is easy. Oh heck no, we did stairs the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not,
Mm-hmm.
but it's worth it. Like if everything in life became or was easy to access and easy for us to get, we wouldn't appreciate anything. And I think that's terrible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, track life is no life to joke at. I remember the worst workout I ever did. It was I don't know if you guys do something similar, call it the same name. It's called broken sixes, broken 600s. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so for those of you that have no, so broken sixes are, meh. But let me explain further. So we would have to run a broken six, a broken 600. For those of you that are not aware of what that is, you run a 200 at a certain time, which is usually pretty fast, and then the next 200 is kind of your rest, like usually 45 seconds to get from 200 to the starting line of the next 200. Then your final 200 is usually at a fast time similar to the first one that you ran. Okay, so we did that. Then there was near our track, which was maybe, I'll say probably 100, maybe 200 yards away. So we'd have to run outside the track into the school parking lot, probably run another 100 yards. And then there was a hill, a street. So we called it 2 streets over. We had to run to that hill, run 400 meters up that hill, whatever time we had to, probably like a fast time, come back, run another broken six,
I wouldn't make it back.
and that was one. And I think we had to do 3 or 4 of those.
After running the track, after doing the 600 on the track.
So you had to do a broken 600
On the track.
run over to that hill, which it was like, it was like a decent incline, had a little decent incline, which was, I'd say maybe a 200 up. Then jog back and then run another broken 6. And that was one. That was just one. And we had to do 3 or 4, I think. That may have been the most painful workout I've ever done in my life.
We did broken fours, so it's kind of that same thing. We went to the indoor track and we had to do a 200. We had 45-second rest, and then we had to do another 200. And since it's indoor, of course, it's a full lap. So sometimes that messes with you. And after we got done, we had to go straight into high knees. And then he would like allow us to rest for maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and we had to repeat it. I think we did 8 that day. And I looked at my coach. I was like, listen here. I went straight to the ground. People don't realize that 400, that is a confidence destroyer. Afterwards.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, yeah.
Yeah, I ran the 400 indoors, and then I did the 400 hurdles outdoors. Yeah. So that was fun. So I definitely understand your pain.
But
Hurdles.
as much as it sucks, there's a big reward after that, because like
Facts.
races or like any other game, like once you fucking bust your ass like that at the beginning of the season, like this rest of the season to breathe. The game's easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Remember that quote? It was Usain Bolt was saying, he was like, "Yo, I trained 4 years, 4 years for less than 10 seconds.
Wow.
4 years for less than 10 seconds." Yo, that like when I read that, I was like, "Yo, like that bugs me out."
Yeah, it's definitely like one of my teammates and I had a conversation about it. We're like, our whole sport is what other sports do as punishment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember playing basketball, and he'd be like, "All right, go ahead, run." We're like, "Ugh," and we're like, "Yay, we do running for fun because this is what we do." Crazy psychos. Yes, 100%.
Yo, my coach in 7th grade, he used to kill us. Beginning of the season, maybe the first 2 practices we didn't catch. We didn't even touch a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking run.
Yep, that was high school. Yeah.
But then like once the season like came along, like we were like the most conditioned team in the league, and we went 16-0 that year.
Okay.
So there's a method to the madness, I guess. But
yeah,
I'd rather be holding a ball.
yeah.
I'd rather be doing something with the ball.
Yeah, 100%. But that speaks to just, again, life in general.
That's where they see like whose character is the strongest. Like,
yeah,
you can either walk out the door. You don't have to play for the scene, but if you're willing to put in the work, that the coaches set forth in front of you, like you either take that or walk.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do?
And if you put the work in, it again, you may not see the result right away, but you'll see it again using the Usain Bolt example. You may put 4 years of work into it, but and again, the result is going to be you get a gold medal because you
Yeah.
put in all that work. Again, you may not see it right away, but the process will get you to where you want to go and where your goals are. Which again, for him, gold medal, 200, 4x1 relay, like gold medal, like that didn't just happen because he was like, I think I'll go out for the Jamaican team.
Yeah.
You know, a year before the Olympics. No, like it takes time, and people are so like, oh, it needs to happen right now. Where's my results right now? Where's my Instagram fame? Where's my TikTok fame? I just put up a video. I joke about it sometimes. Like I put up a video and I'm like, I'll go back like an hour later. I'll be like, am I TikTok famous yet? And then obviously reality sets in. And again, I'm just kidding, but that's how people be sometimes. It's like, bro, it takes time.
It takes time, but also like it's that patience too. You can't just expect results immediately because then you're subjecting yourself to false expectations. And
Mm,
and one of my classes, oh my gosh, one of my favorite classes, it's called Lives of Black Women and Girls, and we've learned
mm,
about different theories. And one of the theories we talked about is the epistemology of ignorance, and essentially it's when we all agree to like this alternate reality that we know is false, but it's a communal agreement to adhere to it. So we're
mm,
all kind of in a state of delusion. So it's like with this epistemology of ignorance, if you sit here and believe that everything's just going to come to you and it's going to come fast and ready, Amazon delivery, 2 packages, 2 days or less, whatever, Prime, all that, it's not the same. You have
mm,
to realize like patience is a virtue. It really is. And when you're
really is.
patient, you get what you deserve. I'd rather get what I deserve than what I want because that means I worked for it. That means that it didn't just come to me. I feel like when you work for something, it tastes better.
For sure, 100%. I know patience is huge. Where was the point I was going with this? Yeah, God's timing is something else, and I think people again we say it all the time on the pod too. Like just the timing, it may not be right for you in that moment. You know, for you to receive whatever it is. You know, man, this is like crazy because this is all stuff that we've been talking about like at church and stuff is crazy because like all right, I'll talk about it. So, like for example, again, it just goes along with what we're saying, but it's principles that can be applied just everywhere. So, like we on like uh, John 1, and I'm paraphrasing. The word was with God, and see, I can't even think. I need to like pull it up. But the word was Jesus, and we all know that he was there at the beginning when creation first started. And so God could have given us Jesus right away, had the example, and pushed through and avoided everything, whatever. But it wasn't the right timing. We had to learn a lot of different things before we could get to the point of understanding and appreciating who Jesus was. And another point is so people, you got to go through the steps because there's things you need to learn before you can get to where you want to be as far as your goal. So it's going to take some time because there's things you got to learn. Two, this was probably the bigger one, bigger than the Usain Bolt thing. Abraham was promised land and he was promised to be the father of nations. They had to wait 400 years before they could ever see that promise come to fruition. Then, because they were disobedient, they had to wait another 40 years to actually get into where they were. So 440 years they waited for a promise that finally came. So things take time, but they will happen. Just do the work.
Yep, exactly. You just have to do the work. It sounds like a lot, and people are like, "Oh, work." Like, no, you have to. Honestly, sometimes getting up is work. Getting up early in the morning is work, but you have to also appreciate the small things. And I was reading this book, I think it's like Atomic Habits or something like that. And even
Mm,
smallest changes in your routine can become habits that better you as a person. So I think it's both putting in the work, but then appreciating where you've came and how you started. Like
Mm-hmm.
what Usain Bolt, like you said, he didn't just randomly decide, you know what, that team, I'm going to be on there. I'm going to be a household name. No, 4 years for 10 seconds. 440 years for a promise from God. God's timing is just, there's nothing like it. And you
Mm-hmm.
like just trusting that you're going to get what you need at the right time. Like you said, you just have to trust it. You just have to go through it. And you have to change your mentality too. Like if you allow yourself to submit to your beliefs, like your limiting beliefs, you're not going to accomplish anything. That timing that you're looking for and hoping rushes by, it is going to rush by. And you're just not
Mm-hmm.
going to remember what happened. You're not going to be grateful for what you have.
And it's like you said, you have to have that patience, but you have to let me rephrase that. You have to have the confidence to know that it's going to happen,
Hmm.
but you have to have the patience to let it happen
Yep.
with
Perfect.
obviously putting in work and yada yada yada. But believe that it'll happen, because that's part of it. You have to believe that it's actually going to happen, because if you don't believe that it's going to happen, then it probably won't, because you're not going to have the same effect and same drive to want to push forward through to that. Like I can hope that music happens, but if I don't make records and I don't connect with people and I don't put out songs and I don't, learn more about music creation and videos and editing and yada 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 and everything else we have to do, nothing's going to happen with music. So do the work, do better, as we say.
Put yourself out there.
That's all it
Take a
is. And just
chance.
Yeah.
yeah, be confident with it. It'll happen. You just, like we said, people are just so in a rush. Oh, it didn't happen in 10 days. Oh, it's not going to happen. No, it may take 11, but you stopped and you didn't care. So did you really want it, or was it just for the moment? Tell
Gotta
me,
be
dude.
hungry. Gotta be hungry. And people don't realize
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, this is a world where if your hunger is speaking for you, then you're not going to get the plate that you're asking for. Like, my hunger when it came to being involved in stuff, I have a great example. So, in Germany, like, we would see all these kids post on Instagram their media days. Like, oh, they're taking photos, they're hyping up their sports. And we were hungry for that too. We're like, we want to do something like that, especially because it generated so much hype for the sport, had parents involved. They made posters for their students. We didn't have that. We didn't have it at all. So this is sneaky Janiyah. So my my yearbook teacher, Mr. Lloyd. Oh my gosh, he was a character. He has so many different nicknames for me. There was Jet. I got called Broken Ribs. We don't need to go in there, but he was just an interesting person. But he was also like the type of person, if you didn't show him how something looked, he wouldn't like trust your thought process with it. He likes the final product. And so I was the yearbook chief editor at this time, another thing I was involved in. I was the yearbook chief editor, and we snuck down to like the volleyball practice, and we told them like, hey, we're gonna do a media day for y'all. Like, we're gonna test it out, see how it works. We had to experiment with lighting. We had to look up and research lighting. We had to make sure we had the right cameras. We did so much behind the scenes, and then we got the photos, and Mr. Lloyd absolutely loved them, and it became a tradition. But we were so hungry that we did everything in our power, everything that we could, even though we didn't even have all the right resources. Our hunger spoke for us. And now I went to Germany for winter break, and I look at the posters that they had hanging up. They had some of the pictures that I took of the students on the posters, and it's a
Hey,
tradition that students and teachers are both like, let's keep it happening. And I'm not even a senior. Like, I'm not even there anymore. This was something I did my senior year, and it's still lasting because I was hungry.
yeah, and you'd be surprised what you can leave behind. People think, again, you, no matter how big or small it may be, you never know what you could leave behind, and you've left kind of a legacy now of just, and it's not even something that necessarily puts your face out there, but it's something that others can appreciate, because now it's, hey, we're going to do media day. I'm going to be able to get my face out there because somebody a couple years back said we deserve something like this. and let's kind of institutionalize it and make it something that continues year after year after year.
I love it. It's definitely been fun, and for me, it was just something to do, and now people are happy about it. I We did a lot of that. We had career days. My one career class, my senior year, was taken out of the course curriculum because our schools. This needs to be talked about. Schools are understaffed. Boys and girls clubs are understaffed. Like we just need more people. I had to take history online. Like there was just so many elements to it, but like we made it work with the career
Mhm.
fair. We had even middle schoolers. We did presentations. We taught middle schoolers about possible careers for them because I'd rather know as a sixth grader the opportunities and the places that I can go than wait to my high school year and settle. Like that's not good. I don't want any kid in their life to ever have to settle when there's so many possibilities out there in the world to become something. And with the career fair, it worked out for our best interest. We had over like my year, we had over 600 people come out to the career fair in K-Town, and they got to learn about teen safe driving. They got to learn about how to apply for scholarships. Everything they needed to know for college was taught, and it was something we didn't have at the school.
Right. Yeah, you'd be surprised what you can do with the things and the resources that you have. You reminded me of something that I'm trying to do next month. I'm doing some kind of we have our night hoops event, basketball tournament, yada yada yada. And I wanted to, for some reason, something was like do a career event during that. And I was like, well, how can I do it a little bit different than just whatever. So I was able to get I was able to get I have Chris Poirier Kim is coming. He's a fitness guy slash he does like creates content and stuff like that, but he runs like a studio, a fitness studio. He was on
Daily Burn.
Hmm?
He was on Daily Burn.
Daily Burn, yep.
Yeah.
He did American Ninja Warrior. So he's coming. I have a photographer for the Boston Celtics coming, who I found on Instagram just by like she. I was following her, and then I was like, "Hey, let me shoot my shot here." And then come to find out, she's an alumni of the local high school to our thing, and I was like, "Yo, small world." I have a guy who works for a printing company, so he does like screen press, all that stuff. He's coming. I have a girl who's an entrepreneur. She has her own like lashes and like nail salon that she opened up herself. And then I have a guy who runs podcast, the Beyond podcast, who he does like highlight reels for high school students so they can have like material for like college and just for themselves. And again, he runs a podcast, so it's like I just tapped into all these people, and I'm hoping, even just mentioning some of these people to the kids are like, yo, like I'm not even into like photography like that, but yo, I would love to like just be around something like that. So I'm like using things that you have around you, like, yo, tap into those things and just take a second and learn. Like you said, we didn't know how to do lighting, but we figured it out. We learned. And again, you educated yourself. That was part of the process. And you took something away from it too. And then future people are going to be able to take something away from that because you guys took the time to invest in it and see not only just in the moment, but what can happen towards the future.
It takes a village. Like my mom always says that. And when I committed to Xavier, my mom made sure to thank just about everyone in my village because we opened our doors. I feel like with military communities, everybody's your family. I have cousins of cousins of cousins of cousins. So
Mm-hmm.
when it came to like having my family support me and then tapping into them as resources, anyone could be a part of your family. Like people don't realize it's not blood that makes a family, it's the love that's the strongest bond of anything and everything. So just having love for what you're doing in your community and then finding other people that share that same bond and love, you create unimaginable like outcomes. And that's what you did with looking for people to invest and be a part of this career thing. That's what we all need to do. Tap into the world. It's a small world. It is such a small world, and anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. And it does take a village. Again, you got me thinking. Just like I think of it as being an advisor. you get to a certain level and you get, your knowledge, and you get really good at it, but it's like, if it wasn't for the Mr. Ryans, if it wasn't for the Mr. Davins, if it wasn't for the Beethovens, if it wasn't for, Air Force staff, if it wasn't for being on steering committees and Youth of the Year committees, and just picking people's brains all the time, like, I wouldn't be who I am. I didn't just like manifest being a good advisor. Like, there were a lot of people that, one, believed in me, and two, just taught me a lot of different things to be a good advisor. And I keep those things with me. And if I ever get the opportunity, like, for example, like that award last year, I don't know who put me in for that, and that's not to pat myself on the back, but it's like, I said it to my kids, I said it to Ben, I said it to staff when I got back. I'm like, I wish I could know who submitted that, because I would really love to just say thank you and just like show my appreciation for that, because without you, like, I wouldn't just be the person who I am. And obviously we've had some interaction in the past, and that's very meaningful for me, and I appreciate it. And I just want to like be able to be like, thank you, send you a card, something, just as like some sort of gratitude,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't be who I am without the people that help create me who I am.
Yeah, I remember Miss Golda. She's in charge of marketing for the Boys and Girls Club. All the like Instagram posts that we see, she's usually the brain behind it. She's the reason why I found my major. I honestly did not know what I wanted to do my junior year, the youth of the year. I was trying to go to the University of Oregon. I was like,
Mhm.
that's my top college. Go Muskies. Anyway, so I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I went through the youth of the year process, and Miss Golda and I, we had like a conversation. She was like, I need help getting all the youth of the years together so we could get photos. I was like, bet, I got you. I went and got everyone. I probably scared them a little bit, but that's okay. It's
That's
fine.
okay.
It's okay. It happens a lot. But I was like, hey, we got to get over here. We got to get these photos done. And then seeing that she was like helping with the photos, that she got to put it all together, that she was doing the Instagram videos, I was like, this is freaking awesome. Like, how do I get to do that? And then I did more research myself. I still talk to Miss Golden to this day, and she's the reason why I found my major. Then I get here, my mom was like, Janiyah, let's talk about this. Most kids, when they go to college, they want to change their major. You want to add one and then add a minor. Please explain that
Hmm.
to me. And it was all because I saw what Miss Golda was capable of and what she was doing. And I was like, you know what? I could possibly do that too. So when I get my degree, I want to have my own nonprofit, like my own PR business, helping nonprofit organizations work together for the betterment of our future generations. I feel like with our future leaders, we really need to give them more resources, give them more of our time, because if we want the world to be a certain way, we need to put in the work to make it that way. And that starts with these next few generations. So with my PR business, I'm going to try to make my Avengers of nonprofit organizations working together so we have what we need in this world. And all of it started with Miss Golda.
Yeah, I'd love to help out with that too. For sure, definitely would love to help out with that. She runs BGCA Tap In, right?
Uh, no, I think
Or is it just
that's
yeah?
someone else. I forgot her name. Oh my gosh, I forgot her name.
Yeah, I'm trying to like think of it. I have the picture of her in my head,
I do
but I
too.
because
Oh
I
my
remember
gosh.
she would send me stuff with the Keystone Conference and stuff. She was like right there, and I was like, all right, got you.
I
Because
for-
that's what I thought you were talking about.
Miss Golda, she runs like the BGCA club's Instagram, like the
Okay.
overarching one. BGCA
Yeah.
Tap In. I know exactly who she. It's not. It's not Kendra. It's not Kendra. Oh my gosh.
Mm,
Oh, this is gonna haunt me.
yeah. We're gonna get off of them and be like, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Now, yeah. But shout out to her too.
Shout out
Shout
to
out to both. Just especially just inspiring. It's, again, it takes just something as simple as that and people to care to really inspire people to want to do, do something with their lives. And people don't understand the impact that they can have. And you said there's such a lack of advisors and support with teaching and advisors at BGCAs and youth centers, and it's like, I never planned to work at a youth center ever, but you'd be surprised to the people that don't work in these places, you'd be surprised how much you can really fall in love with it if you find the right kind of course that you want to be, whether it's the age group or whatever. You'd be surprised how like natural it is. It isn't like a to me it's like it's not a daycare, it's not even youth development. It's like literally just like hanging out with kids. It's hanging out with teens and getting to know them and building the relationships, and then the rest of it like just falls into place. And again, you never realize the impact that you can have for people, again, just by simply having a conversation and sharing a little bit about what you do or who you are. Again, to go with what you said, she just needed a little help with some of the PR stuff, and you're like, this is actually what I want to do. So this is pretty cool, off of a simple conversation and opportunities such as Youth of the Year, probably presented by an advisor who invested in you and wanted to, obviously, Mr. Ryan and the whole fam out there in Germany. But it takes just little nuggets of things like that for people to just go off.
Yeah, I remember my very first day at the teen center. My mom and my dad were in the States. My stepdad, but he's like my father to me. They were in the States, and my mom, she said that my sister wanted to go to a bonfire. And she was like, Naya, I don't know those people. You think I'm gonna allow your sister to go out there by herself? I was hoping she would say yes, but no, she made me go with her. And I had one simple conversation with Mr. Ryan. I think that following week, he emailed me and was like, this is the Youth of the Year candidate resume and stuff like that. And it was crazy as well because I had like wrote out in January that year what I wanted to accomplish. I was like, okay, I want to be able to do this with track. I want to be able to like have a 3.8, and Youth of the Year was on there, but I didn't even know what all that would entail. And then I was the very first person out of all Mr. Ryan's like candidates that he's had to make it to European, to make it to Northeast. I set that. I set that record. And then I inspired and helped Caleb. Like I was his mentor. I was like, hey, this is what we got to do. You're going to have to dedicate yourself to this because we're going to make it work. Next thing you know, we won European Military Youth of the Year last year. We won Northeast Regional Military Youth of the Year last year. And now we have our new candidate, Keandre, who's been practicing his speech, going over stuff. I've been helping him as much as I can. And all of it, like, it's just a domino effect. But the first person to start it was Mr. Ryan. And
Mhm.
for me, like my biological father, growing up, he was not in my life a lot, and it was hard. Like I always saw little girls with their fathers, and I'm like, why isn't that me? And I compared myself to them. It was just, it was dark and depressing for me as a little kid not to have a father, and I was a daddy's girl. So my mom fortunately met my stepdad. He's absolutely my best friend. I love my dad so much. She met him, and he became like my father. And then I meet Mr. Ryan like 2 years after that, and then I have another father. Mr. Ryan, although we don't look anything alike, I claim him as my father, like as another
Yeah.
dad, because he just invested in me. This random kid he didn't even know. Like when there was days I needed a ride to go somewhere, Mr. Ryan was like, you know what, I got you. We're gonna practice the speech on the way, but it's okay, we're gonna get there. So
There you go.
just someone that poured into me, and now I'm pouring into others. I call the Keystone kids that I mentor, I call them my kids. Now, I don't have kids. Not happening anytime soon. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Good.
Hallelujah. But
Good.
I call them my kids because that's just how Mr. Ryan treated me. And
Mhm.
like you said, with youth development, people think it's a job. Like, honestly, the advisors that I talk to in Germany, like Mr. Roosevelt, Miss Amy, I'm forgetting some. Oh my gosh, but there's so many there. They've told me it's not really a job for them. Like you said, it's just simple conversation and getting to know kids. The payment is nice, yeah, but that's not what they're focused on. It's the fact
Mhm.
that they get to relate, and you learn something new every day in a teen center. Let me tell you that.
Big facts. Big facts. Yeah, I've told people all the time, because there's been higher positions that have opened up. And again, this isn't me tuning my horn or trying to stand on some type of pedestal, but it just really speaks to just where I found my joy. There's been positions that have been higher up, more pay, whatever. But I'm like, yo, like I love chilling with y'all. I love chilling with teens. I love just kicking it with y'all, sharing experiences. And even if it comes down to one kid that I taught how to shoot a basketball better, that can now his shot is so much better, and he's playing defense better, and he's learning different skills, and that's what he takes away. Cool. I don't we don't need all these awards and him to do all this and that, and go D1. But if he's like, yo, Mr. J, thank you for just helping me fix my basketball shot, yo, that's a win in my book. I'll take that any day. And there's the other point I was trying to get to was teens need to realize, really, again, speaking with everything that you've been through, teens need to realize the voice that they really have and what is really lying underneath. I was talking to we have a new teen that came in. She's 13, and just again, just you just recognize it. And just the way she was talking, I was like, how old are you? And she's like, oh, I'm 13, turning 14, whenever. And I was like, we're in the middle of our youth of the year process, but maybe next year. I was like, I really think you should do youth of the year. And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, really shy, and don't talk in front of people. I was like, I've had a lot of people say that, and then they build the skill. And I'm like, that's what youth of the year is about, is building those skills to be able to do such things like that, along with obviously finding your passions. And she says this and that. And then we go into the gym, and then one of the kids is having like a really tough time just playing one of the sports. He's like me, like, you play a sport, you want to be good at it. And he was having a really hard time. And I went over and, started talking to him and trying to help him out. And then she came over, didn't ask her to, didn't, hey, come over here real quick. Nothing. She just came over, and she just started talking to him and was like, hey, like, don't give up. Don't, and I just like kind of like slowly like backed away and just let her do her thing. And I was like, how are you going to tell me that? I'm like, yo, how are you going to tell me? Like, you are literally exhibiting qualities of everything that a youth of the year is about. And I'm like, I haven't done a thing.
Sometimes it's just natural. It's just there. And I think the Boys and Girls Club, I posted this one time. It could just take one person to realize your potential. I talked about in my speech that I was hiding from the caress of my potential because I found it terrifying. I found it terrifying to just sit here and try to like be capable of things because I didn't think I deserved it. So there's so many like doubts that we have, but they're by us. Like, it's not anyone else sitting there saying it to our faces. It's just
Mhm.
in our heads. We get stuck in our heads so much that we don't realize we've created a room. And yeah, a room is four walls, but that one, that's just you. It's you just talking to yourself. So once you come out of that room, I mean, people find their voices. I've had to tell my friends that the loudest voice in a room won't always be heard, and the quietest person will always be forgotten. Like,
Mhm.
people recognize your presence in a room. It's just up to you, like, how they recognize it, when they recognize it, why they recognize it. A lot of stuff is in our control in life, and we just have to be willing to experiment. I mean, with my voice, oh heck no. I
Mhm.
I actually used to be shy, believe it or not. I did not really want to talk to anyone. I don't know why, but this is interesting. I got suspended out of kindergarten because instead of talking to kids, I threw blocks at them. Uh, once I learned how to overcome that, I eventually did start talking to people more. I think I really grew out of my shell maybe my ninth grade year, but it was also because I'm like, bro, I'm just moving around so much. What's the point? What's the point of trying to connect with people? It's not going to be a lasting connection. I'm going to leave soon anyway. I stayed in Washington State for 7 months. Started school in January, left in the summer. I was like, there's no point in making connections with people. But then I realized that is the point. Without the connections that I currently have, I would not be the Janiyah standing before you. I don't even consider myself accomplished. I've just considered myself a hardworking person. But everyone else sees me like, oh, you've done this, you've done that. When I say my titles, I'm like, I'm grateful for them, but that's just not all there is to me. I'm an athlete, yeah, but I'm still involved in campus. There's just so many layers to me. I'm a complex human being, but all of that is just to say that when people take chances on you, magic happens. And you have to be willing to submit yourself to the process. It's scary, yes, but at the same time, like, you just got to overcome it. It's fun. I enjoy my life. I do what I
Mhm.
want. Don't tell my mother that, but I do what I want.
Well, yeah, because I want to see teens stop doubting themselves
Yeah.
so much. I've seen a lot of that I think probably more post COVID too, and I don't know if that's because of just lockdowns and not having people to be able to directly talk to, and losing that communication piece, and like we're still kind of feeling the effects of that. And I ask teens all the time, like, what do you want to do? Hey, you should try that. Oh, I don't know. Oh, not really. People are gonna say something. People are gonna do. It's like, where did the drive and the hunger, like, as a teen, just disappear? I remember, again, pre-COVID, it was like you couldn't get teens to stop doing things, trying different things. I'd bring, for example, like I'd bring art and paint and stuff, and we'd have like 10 people doing artwork, you know, during a teen night. Now it's like I can barely get one because
Mhm.
people are afraid. I asked that girl that I was talking to, I was like, yeah, like we're just wrapping up our art contest and yada yada yada, the BGCA national one.
Yeah.
And and I was like, oh, it's like weird. Like nobody wants to submit artwork and do that. And she was like, yeah, most people are probably just afraid of the judgment of the artwork. And I was like, yo, that's crazy to me. Because again, people used to they would just do it, and it was didn't care. But like people, like teens are like doubting themselves now. And
Yeah.
it's scary because you want to see, because they don't push after anything, because they just doubt that it's possible or it's going to happen, or I don't know what it is, but it's like it's sad to see. And as an advisor, it's like trying to just like kick the door in, and really just try to get them motivated to do something.
Yeah, that's why I tell people representation matters so much. Like for me, if I see someone that looks like me, that kind of has similar qualities as me, if I see that they can accomplish something, then I'm going to be even more motivated to do it. But with COVID, like, we didn't know what to do. I mean, for me, I moved during COVID. I went from Alabama to Germany, and it
Mm.
was just a struggle. I was on Struggle Bus City. I mean, we didn't have internet for freaking 13 days because the person refused to come in there. They're like, you just came from the States. You might have COVID. We're not going to help you out. So, like, it was just so much. And I can only imagine what other people went through. I mean, having COVID, that's scary as well. It was just so much to fear. And instead of letting out that fear, we internalized it. We internalized it so much that it's still there today. And I, of course, like the pandemic, like there's still some of it happening, but I don't think people realize that some of it's still happening within us right now. We may not have COVID, but we have that remnant of fear, of like just doubting ourselves. And I mean, I see it in teens as well. I really do. With Keandre, sometimes I feel like he doubts himself, but I'm like, no, like you were chosen for a reason to do Youth of the Year. You're here for a reason. You exist for a reason. Finding that reason, it may be tough, but just knowing that your existence is prominent, that matters. Like you can make change with that, and just trying to reiterate that to like kids, to youth, even to some adults. Like some
That's
adults
true.
internalize that fear too when they try
Mm.
to like set themselves apart at work or just accomplishing the things that they wanted to as a child. I feel like we all need to connect back to our inner child and heal. That like that COVID, everything with COVID just scared us, and we still have that fear within us, just presented in a different way.
Yeah, it's all like you said, it's all internalized, and they haven't acknowledged it. They just buried it. We just buried it deep down, and it's just subconsciously there, and we just think it's not. But it's like, bro, you went through something,
Yes.
and you gotta acknowledge it. You can't just, all right, we're free, we're out, like it's cool. Like no, like you lost connection with people. You got, especially for teens, and that's like you're growing and you're building stages and you're trying to figure things out, and where you have 2 years where that growing and that experiencing and that trying to figure things out part of your life is put on pause. Like you're almost what's the word where you like digress, no, not digress, like when kids, like say that, like a kid is potty trained and then they go backwards and then they start wetting the bed again, like you almost regress. Like there's like a regression of it, where it's like you've regressed for 2 years because you didn't have what you needed at the right time in the right age. If you're 14, there's things that you learn when you're 14, there's things you learn when you're 15. When that pauses for 2 years, like you're in a 17-year-old body, you're 17 years old in a 14, 15-year-old body, mindset, whatever, because everything got put on pause.
And
Now
then
you're,
like you fear the world too. Like I understand being afraid of judgment, especially when you vulnerably express yourself through art, through anything. Like there's always that fear because I'll admit the world could be very judgmental. But that's why people have to go back and be confident in themselves. I felt like for me, I let society write the person that I was. Those negative spaces where I didn't feel like I was filling them up, I let society do it for me. And going back and realizing that I unknowingly confirmed to stuff was like, what the heck? Like, who
Mhm,
am I? And I feel like we all need to go back and just think about who we are as people, what we're passionate about, and not what we believe society has given us. Society hasn't given us anything. I'm going to be 1,000% honest. Society
mhm,
has given us fear. Society has given us doubt. Society has given us insecurities. But that's just because we've allowed ourselves to take it on as well. Have to be
mhm,
accountable. Accountability is a gift, is a blessing. I had to be accountable for the things that I've done to other people. There's been times where I've unknowingly hurt someone, and like it could be in conversation, it could be a comment I thought was just nothing, and someone else is like, no, like I thought there was more meaning to that. So having those open conversations of accountability also needs to be factored in. It's just so much, but when it comes to the world, you have to realize that nothing like it's your person is forever, your soul is forever, but the world is not. You're
mhm,
here for a short time and you want to accomplish a lot, yes, but at the end of the day, when it's time, like, are you proud of what you've done? Or
mhm,
are you proud of what society has condoned you to, you have submitted to?
mhm,
That's why I stopped like with the positivity stuff that I post in my story. I post it because I want to. I post it because I know, okay, it may have a positive impact on someone. And even if it reaches just one person, I've done my job as a human being. But
mhm,
that's not the most important thing. There's just so much more. So I'm not going to conform to the world when I can praise God for everything that He's given me. That's
mhm,
forever. My relationship and my faith with God is forever. The world is temporary.
mhm. We seek validation from people that are only here for a time.
Yes.
People are unreliable, people that are unfaithful, people that, are I mean, we're all flawed, people that are flawed, it's like stop. Is like you said, as long as you are happy, and I told the same thing to the girl, and just all these things are coming around, so I know definitely from God. It's like I told her, I said, who cares what people think of your artwork? If you think that it is a beautiful piece of art, then it's a beautiful piece of art. We've seen art pieces. She even said, she's like, yeah, people put up like just a blue dot on a paper, and they're like, wow, that really speaks to me. That is like, oh man, I'm just feeling so many emotions right now. I'm like, it's a blue dot. So it's like it's all about the perspective. So what is your perspective going to be? Are you going to appreciate your music? Are you going to appreciate your craft? Are you going to appreciate what you're putting out there? Are you going to really care about what people have to say, whose perspective may be completely opposite of what yours is anyways?
Because everyone comes from different backgrounds. No person is the same. Like, even twins are not exactly the
Hmm.
same. So, why are we going to sit here and try to conform to what other people believe and think when at the end of the day, our opinion of ourselves matters. God's opinion of ourselves matters, of us matters. It's just like just sitting back and realizing where your perspective has came from because we unknowingly like accustom ourselves to different perspectives too. We take bits and pieces of people along with us and we unknowingly do it, but we also like we take on their beliefs, their ideas, their customs, all that, and we allowed it to shape ourselves into a person we don't even recognize anymore. Like now that I don't have fear in what I do, I feel freer. I'm much
Hmm.
more happy with the like work and products that I do with video editing. I used to be so afraid of it. I'm self-taught with everything. I
Hmm.
I've learned like maybe on YouTube how to like properly sequence a video together, but photography wise, when this came to photos, I experimented. I was like, you know what? I hate this setting on the camera. Let me change it. Oh, this setting? I still hate it. Let me change it again. I experimented and now I do photography for campus. So it's taking a chance on yourself.
Hmm. It's like what Cat Williams said. People getting offended or upset by what people said, and people messing with their self-esteem. It's the steam of your mother flipping self. So how can you let somebody influence how you feel about yourself?
Exactly. Like, they don't know you.
Again, like you said, like opinions are cool, whatever. But is it fact? Is it true? Is it subjective? Is it their perspective? Don't let someone's opinion affect how you feel about yourself. If you believe in yourself and you're confident and you're cool and you think your blue dot is an amazing piece of artwork, then that blue dot is an amazing piece of artwork.
Yeah. I used to
And
get that a lot. Like, especially with everything I'm involved in. I've had people give me a side eye like, you're going to burn out. Like, why are you even involved in all that stuff? It's not even worth it. And then I've had people like, oh, you're not really tired. Like, it hasn't even been a long day. How are you going to tell me how I feel? Are you
mhm,
me? Are you going through my everyday life? No. So I had to realize, like, I can't be a people pleaser. The person I should be focused more about pleasing is myself and being okay with what I look at in the mirror every day. And
mhm.
you keep saying blue dot. It's reminding me of our mascot. We have the blue blob.
Yo, what is wrong? Yo, I can't
That
even.
is a magnificent blue blob, isn't it?
Blue blob. Blue blob and D'Artagan are pirate.
Is it D'Artagnan or am I
Dar
tripping?
D'Artanganin. It's a name.
Yeah.
I'm not
Because
gonna. I have a fear of mascots.
you what?
I have a fear of mascots.
Really? Why? Because they don't
Yes.
talk to you.
No.
So like, if you went to Disney World, like the mascot, like the Mickey Mouse, like walking around, you'd be like, nah, I'm going that way.
I walk the other way. Like my family photos, the majority of the family photos, I'm not in them. You know why? Because I'm taking it. I'm not getting near that mascot. I have a huge fear of mascots. I actually yelled at someone at a basketball game. I had to apologize to him. He walked close to me and I thought he was the mascot because of like the way I had looked. I screamed. I
Mm,
was like, and my friends were like, Janiyah. I was like, I don't want those mascots near me. I told someone I will push down Blue Blob and run away. I can't do mascots.
damn.
I've always been afraid of them. Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-mm.
that's awesome.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah. That's another perspective for y'all. Blue Blob. Go
Blue.
ahead.
I can't even process just where that could have came from.
Um,
The I don't.
so the story behind it, apparently the kids
Oh,
thought
there is.
there is. I had to learn it from one of the trainers at our Centos Center. I don't know if this is right. I hope someone from Cincinnati corrects me if I'm wrong. But basically, there were kids afraid of the pirate, Dartagon, whatever his name is. They were afraid of him, and so they had a competition, and they were like, "Oh, like let's let the kids draw whatever they feel most comfortable with it." And then the blue blob was birthed. But there's then another story where someone said it was like someone found blue blob on the bottom of their shoe in a science lab. I don't know. I like the kid version better, so that's the one I tell people.
That's so weird. So weird
It
to me.
is. But they gave me the most money, so blue blob. Woohoo!
Yeah. Wow, there you go. Yeah. Shout out to the blue. Shout out to the
Shut
blue blob for giving the most money. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, but stay away from me, respectfully.
Respectfully. Well, Janiyah, this has been amazing hour and a half or so that we've been tuned in. It's been great catching up to you, catching up with you, catching up to you. And I mean, you're running off on doing a million and one things, which is great. I'm glad to see that you're involved. You're continuing with your passions. You're still the upright spirit that you are, despite whatever, hopefully, negative things that are happening. Obviously life is not perfect, but glad to see that you are holding strong through everything. And, you know, seeing everything that you've been doing, obviously through social media and stuff, but glad to see that you are still trucking away first year of college and doing some big things already.
I'm glad to see you as well. I'm happy to see that you're still putting out music and still inspiring these youth because we need it. We really do. Advisors like you, advisors, unfortunately, like Mr. Ryan.
Shout
y'all,
out
y'all
to
do so
Ryan.
much. You do a lot. And for me, like it means the world to see that people that put into the world get the things that they deserve. And you definitely deserved Advisor of the Year last year. So just another
Thank,
congratulations. And I'm very proud of you.
thank you, thank you. How can people, before we wrap up, how can people kind of connect with you that may not be familiar with you, to hearing this for the first time? How can people connect with you and maybe follow you, Instagram, wherever?
Yeah, I'm mainly on Instagram. My TikTok's a little bit too embarrassing, and my sister comments on all of them telling me I'm not that girl. So I'd rather you not see that. Um,
Mm.
my Instagram is at Niyah NIYAHA dot season because it's my season for greatness. Yeah, that's mainly where I am. And like to anyone that's listening, if you ever need advice or need to have a conversation with someone, I'm here. I'm always here. I'm a listening ear for anyone and for everyone.
Amen, amen, amen. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Janiyah, I want to thank you one last time for taking the time to be able to come on here and just share your story, your vision, your passion. Truly inspiring to me as always. Always love hearing this stuff, especially from younger teens and just inspiring people like yourself. Shout out to everybody that's been watching. I want to say one more time, God bless to everybody. But until next time, my name is Jay Faith,
My name is Life.
and we got Janiyah,
Hi,
and
hi.
this is the Right Mind Wednesdays podcast. We'll catch y'all next time. What's up?